But keeping up with the recent stream of NHL news, it's another day and another RFA down. Really only 3 left. Today, Flames fans rejoice. Calgary have re-signed restricted free agent Matthew Tkachuk. 3-year deal worth $21 million. The official announcement is set for later today in Calgary. But as of now, Tim, as you look at this deal, what do you generally make of it? Who won? Who lost? Did both win?
Coincidence it was signed one day after Milan Lucic was on the first power play for the Calgary Flames in preseason.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Listen, 21-year-old coming off 77 points, being second in the team in goal scoring with 34 goals, and driving basically his own line. An important factor in that, right? You had that great top line of Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan. You were able to put Elias Lindholm on the wing, have that line still have its success. And Matthew Tkachuk, though some of it came on the power play as well, had success driving his own line. And I think that has a lot to do with why we're talking about Matthew Tkachuk now being the highest paid Calgary Flame. And I think that people are okay with it because, one, it's closer to what we had in Mark Giordano, the aforementioned Monahan and Gaudreau, right?
Yeah.
People are okay with $7 million. It doesn't dwarf any of those guys, but it gives him what I think a lot of people think that he's worth. So much so that Eric Francis was talking to Mark Giordano, captain of this team, and might I add, reigning Norris Trophy winner. And here's what Giordano had to say, quote, "It's huge. Great on him for signing and great for Treliving. Both sides getting it done. It looks like we can keep our team and not make big moves to get it done, which is huge." He goes on to say, if you look around at a lot of the RFAs, they're all on good teams, and they're taking these 3-year deals that are helping their teams set themselves up to keep a lot of players and win now. Could Tkachuk have gotten more, used more of their cap right now and signed a long-term deal?
And waited. Could have, yeah.
Could have.
Absolutely.
He could have waited a couple months and signed the same deal, or at least a couple months, and signed the same deal, which would have cost them more against the cap this year just because it would have been prorated like William Nylander did with the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's a lot of comparables here, and for this team at this time, this works, and that's why Calgary should be happy about this.
They should be elated. I can't disagree with a lot of what you said. I can't disagree with any of what you said. I mean, this is a deal. You said it. He does become the highest paid guy they have, but not by a ton. Not enough to rub other players the wrong way necessarily. Now, they might still be rubbed the wrong way. I'm not in the room. But it's not a ridiculous fee for a player who you one day think, was going to be a captain for your organization. Now, I know it's only 3 years, so it doesn't lock him in like that. Right. But this is what they think of Matthew Tkachuk. I still don't like he missed this much camp. That I can tell you. He's going to feel that a little bit. I don't know if he's going to come firing on all cylinders out of the gate. That I don't like. But it's just a smart deal. And for everything Giordano said. Like Mark Giordano is one of my favorite quotes in the league. Like he nails it. And he nailed it with that. Again, I still think Toronto's reality and other teams' reality, the way they started their whole financial situation, they left themselves boxed in. They had to do certain things a certain way. When you give $11 million to a free agent, you have 3 kids to sign, you need to figure that out. But it's just really intelligent what Brad Treliving did here. And the Calgary Flames, who again have a really sour taste in their mouth considering how last season ended, bring in Matthew Tkachuk, and they're ready to go again. Now they just need some goaltending.
I don't want to draw straight lines from Mark Giordano's quote to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think there will be a lot of people who do that, and I think that you just did it. And I think that when you compare Tkachuk or points contracts as an RFA, you will point them straight to Mitch Marner and what he ended up getting from the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think there is there are some apples to oranges in those comparisons, but I do want to point out that Bill Peters said that Tkachuk will play Saturday with Backlund and Frolik. Okay. And he said that this may have squashed the idea of putting him on the top line with Monahan and Gaudreau for now. He said that the delayed arrival to camp puts an end to the thoughts of him playing alongside Monahan and Gaudreau. As for the other thing, the Leafs have decided they're going to sign their term, their core to a longer term and then adjust the pieces around it. With Braden Point in Tampa and with Tkachuk in Calgary, they've decided they need to keep these teams together. These guys will fit in, and then they're going to cash in 3 years, and you don't know if your team will be able to re-sign that player when they cash in 3 years. You're hoping,
Yeah.
but you don't know.
But it's irrelevant to how valuable you believe the 3-year window is.
Correct.
It is irrelevant to these GMs, Julian Breezewell, all these guys, if they believe they can do this within the next 3 years.
You know that Kyle Dubas is saying, I don't want my window to be 3 years, I want it to be longer, right?
But that's kind of an ass-backwards way to look at it, considering what you are paying to those 4 players. That also impedes you regardless of how long the term is. Does that not?
But I don't know if it's ass backwards. Well, like, can you listen before you say eh?
Okay, go ahead.
You're extending the window for those players to be successful. So it's not ass backwards. It's the way you're surrounding them is what you're talking about. But you believe that these players are going to give you the best opportunity to win, so you extend their window and your own team's window. And lest we forget who's in the Leafs division, how good they are, and the ages of those teams. Like the Boston Bruins right now are going to age.
They are, but they still don't have players over 10 million.
Correct.
Right. And Tampa, really, they don't have players over 10 million.
Correct.
So what I'm saying is, if you extend the window with that core to 6 years, but you're not as deep as those teams.
Right. But do you think...
Are you really that competitive?
Do you think that the older players aren't going to get worse as they get older and or leave the team?
Patrice Bergeron's going to play forever.
Despite all of
Bergeron's going to play forever.
Despite all of the injuries, Patrice Bergeron will play forever. I think that's part of the equation here.
Right.
And the Calgary Flames were good last year.
Right.
They should be good this year. David Riddick, we'll see.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm still not. Listen, I like David Riddick as a personality. A lot of people do. I'm not sold on David Riddick as a guy.
There's an interesting story. We can tweet it out. Eric Francis wrote about David Riddick and what he did in the offseason. He committed to working out a lot more because he realizes he's going to get an opportunity on a pretty damn good team to be a #1 goalie. Can he live up to that? That might be the question all year long and into the playoffs for the Calgary Flames.